They didn't see it coming. Nobody ever does. 1 second, open water, blue sky, that smell of salt and old wood and something close to freedom. The next second, something came up from the deep. Okay, look, before we get into weapons and numbers and all that, just picture this for a moment. Caribbean, 1715, the most dangerous stretch of ocean on the planet. No laws out here. Zero. The simple rule was, whoever had the biggest gun made the rules. Merchant ships were disappearing every single week. Whole crews just gone. Some ports got so exhausted from fighting that they literally just started paying, handing over gold like rent money. Just please, leave us alone. Pirates ran the sea. That's just how it was. And we're not talking about a handful of guys on a small boat. At the height of it, close to 2,000 of them were working these waters. They had actual fleets. Captains shared information with each other. They controlled the shipping routes that whole empires needed to survive. Blackbeard, one single man, shut down an entire coastline. He surrounded a whole city once, not even for gold that time, just to get medicine for his sick crew, because he felt like it, because nobody could stop him. But here's the thing, people always get wrong about pirates. They weren't monsters. Most of them weren't anyway. These were men who had absolutely nothing left. Navy sailors tossed onto the street the moment a war ended. Escaped slaves with nowhere safe to go. Dock workers who watched their kids go hungry while merchants kept getting richer. The world had thrown these men in the trash, and they decided to take something back. Some of them were honestly brilliant. Black Bart Roberts, just this one guy, captured over 400 ships in 3 years. 400. That's more than one every 3 days. And he didn't pull that off through luck or pure violence. He had written rules for his crew, equal shares for everyone, no fighting among themselves. He basically built a working democracy on the water at a time when most of the world didn't have that on land. Brave men, smart men, men who built something real out of nothing. But they only ever looked in one direction for danger, the horizon. They never once looked down. Now, I want you to imagine something that no living person in 1715 could have pictured. Not a bigger ship, not a stronger cannon, something completely different. Something that didn't need wind or sails or even air. Something that could travel across the entire ocean, underneath it, without ever coming up once. Silent the whole way, invisible, just waiting. The USS Ohio. 170 meters of solid steel. To give you a sense of that, it's longer than 5 blue whales laid out nose to tail. When it moves underwater, it makes almost no sound at all. Actually quieter than the ocean itself. It can go down 240 meters, deep enough that sunlight completely disappears. Deep enough that from the surface, it just doesn't exist. Nuclear powered, needs no fuel stops, no wind, no rest. It could go all the way around the Earth and never once come up for air. Now, sailors have been telling stories about sea monsters forever. Things under the water that dragged ships straight down. Whole crews swallowed and never seen again. Those stories stuck around for a reason. They came from something real. That old buried human fear that the ocean is hiding something. Something that doesn't play by our rules. For most of history, those were just campfire stories. But right now, in this moment, the monster was real and it was armed. 1 torpedo. That's genuinely all it takes against a wooden ship. Just one. A 290-kilogram warhead that moves at 55 knots and chases its target automatically. No aiming required. The best pirate gunner could hit something from maybe 50 meters on a calm day. The Ohio kills from 50 kilometers underwater without making a sound until it's already over. One decision, one trigger, and a ship that was full of men and noise and life just stops existing. Pirates owned the surface. Every wave, every current, every hidden cove, completely theirs. But nobody ever told them what lived underneath. Just hit a Spanish fleet hard. Gold sitting heavy in the holds, and everybody knows it. Guys are up on deck. Someone's playing music badly. Someone else is already drunk before noon. Good mood all around. Clear sky, calm water, no enemy ships anywhere on the horizon. They checked. They always checked. 40 meters below them, the Ohio is already watching. Its sonar has every single hull above it mapped out. Speed, size, direction. The crew down below actually knows more about these ships than the pirates themselves do. And the Ohio's crew isn't celebrating or rushing around. They're just working, calm and quiet, moving through their stations the way you move through something you've done so many times your body just does it. Up on the lead ship, a captain named Thomas is watching the water. 15 years at sea, survived 2 hurricanes, 3 Navy battles, 1 shipwreck off Jamaica. This ocean is his home. He knows how it moves, how it sounds, how it feels when something isn't right. The water next to his hull is behaving strangely, not from wind, not from any current he recognizes. Something huge is underneath him, pushing the water in a way that shouldn't be happening. He leans over the railing and stares down into it. His first mate walks over, looks down with him for a second. "Whale," the first mate says, and just walks off. Thomas doesn't move, keeps staring. He can't put a name to what he's feeling. It's not exactly fear. It's more like his body knowing something before his brain catches up. That deep animal instinct, firing quietly somewhere in in his chest. Then the last ship in the convoy explodes, not from cannon fire, not from anything that came across the water, from underneath. The hull just rips open from below, and the whole thing, wood, rope, men, gold, all of it, goes up and out in one single violent second. 1 second, it's a ship. The next second, there's just fire and wreckage, and a ring of white foam spreading outward. Then silence. Then the screaming starts. Thomas spins around, scans the horizon. Nothing. No enemy ship, no smoke trail from a distant cannon. Just open water and blue sky, and where 30 men used to be, just pieces slowly sinking. His crew is yelling, pointing at the water. A few of them are on their knees. Thomas stands completely still. He has never been afraid of anything he could actually see. This he cannot see. The whole convoy just falls apart. Every captain starts screaming different orders at the same time. Ships turning left, ships turning right. One captain, and honestly you can't even blame him, just dropped all his sails and stopped completely in the middle of the open ocean. His entire crew standing there frozen on deck, staring at the water below them, waiting. And there's Diego. Diego is maybe 19 years old, first year at sea, barely shaving yet, and in this moment of complete helpless terror, he pulls out his pistol and fires it into the ocean. He knows it won't do a single thing. He has to know that. But just standing there, doing nothing felt worse than anything. So he reloads, fires again, reloads, fires again, standing at the railing, shooting down into the deep water at something invisible, something he can't understand, with a pistol that might as well be a toy against whatever is underneath him. Nobody around him laughs. Every single one of them completely understands why he's doing it. Then the second ship explodes. Same thing. No warning. No sound first. Just there and then gone. And now this isn't just panic anymore. Panic you can talk people through. This is something older and heavier than panic. These men had stared down Navy cannons and kept their nerve. But this felt completely different. Like the ocean itself had turned on them. Like something had finally decided enough. Men who hadn't prayed in years were praying out loud. One captain threw all his gold over the side. Every last bit of it, like maybe giving it back, would make this thing stop. 40 meters below, the Ohio keeps moving, slow and steady. The weapons officer sees targeting data and green lights on a screen. He doesn't feel the chaos above him. He can't hear the screaming. And then one captain does something that nobody saw coming. His ship turns toward the disturbance in the water, not away from it, toward it. His crew completely loses it. They're grabbing his arms, pointing the other direction, some of them crying. He shakes them all off, walks to the front of the ship, stands there, chin up, hands behind his back, just staring at the spot where the water is moving wrong. He orders every cannon loaded. He knows, he must know. But this man had never run from a single thing in his entire life. And whatever time he had left, he wasn't going to spend it running. He sails straight at it. Just pause there for a second. Hold that picture in your head. A wooden ship, sails completely full, cannons aimed at the water, and one man standing at the bow, sailing directly at something he couldn't understand. Who was this guy really? Not a villain, not some monster, just a man with a name, with a face, with probably someone out there somewhere still thinking about him. A mother, a brother, somebody in some port city hoping he'd walk through the door this time. He was probably hungry a lot as a kid, probably watched people he loved die from things that a little money or a little luck could have prevented. Probably chose this life not because he wanted adventure, but because every other door had been slammed in his face, and he had built something real out of all that. A ship, a crew, a life on his own terms, the kind of freedom that most men in 1715 never got anywhere close to. And now something was taking all of it away, something he had no name for, no weapon against, no way to even begin to understand. And he chose to sail straight at it anyway. I don't know exactly what you call that, but it's not nothing. The torpedo hit his ship 200 meters out. He was gone before the sound reached anybody else. Then the Ohio surfaced. Just once, just for a little while, the ocean just opened up. Steel rose out of the black water, slowly, higher, water pouring off it in massive sheets, like a mountain, deciding to just stand up out of the sea. It kept rising. It was bigger than anything these men had ever seen that human hands had built. No sails, no wood, no flags, nothing familiar about it at all. Just black steel and impossible size, and a silence that somehow felt heavier than any sound. Men who had never backed down from anything in their lives stepped backward without even deciding to move. The survivors talked about this moment for the rest of their lives, in ports, in taverns, to strangers who would sit and listen, and most people didn't believe them. You were drunk. You imagined it. The sea plays tricks on your head. The survivors would just go quiet, nod slowly, not bother arguing, because some things you see, you just stop trying to explain to people. You carry them instead. Something beyond them had come up from underneath the world, and then the steel slipped back under the water, and it was gone. So, could one nuclear submarine actually end the age of pirates? Yeah, completely. Not because pirates were weak or stupid. They weren't. weren't. They were some of the most resourceful, most stubborn, most genuinely free people of their whole era. They built something real from absolutely nothing. They held entire empires at a standoff for 80 years, but they had wood and gunpowder. The Ohio doesn't breathe, doesn't sleep, doesn't need to show itself to kill. Here's the part I keep coming back to. The USS Ohio has never actually fired a single weapon in real combat. Not once. The most powerful submarine ever built has never fought a real war. It just exists as a message, a promise, something so overwhelming that it doesn't even need to be used. Just knowing it's out there is enough. Pirates ruled the surface for 80 years. The Ohio would have ended it in 45 minutes. And after, the sea would have looked exactly the same. Flat, calm, blue, as if the sea had decided to keep the secret.